Good morning, everybody, and hello, pilgrims. Everyone that is on this path of opening to new knowledge and gaining more insight into the world around us and beyond, which is fabulous. So we start again. I will try not to make faux pas and mumble my way through it, but you all know me by now, and I'm only human. So we will start. Now, this Friday, no, the Friday in question, on the 28th of August, is going to be a partial eclipse. And at this time of year, many eons ago, it was known as a sturgeon moon, a green corn moon, a barley moon, and a fruit moon. And the Saxons, Anglo-Saxons, called it a grain moon. So eclipses have always been a highlight and something to be in awe of over the centuries. So you can understand why a lot of the names for the moons were around food and what was important at that time of year. So some of them are fairly obvious moons, but they're lovely, and they shouldn't be allowed to die out, these old names for things. I think they're very attractive. So for those of you that are interested, that's a little bit of information. I don't do it every time there is a moon, full moon, but I try and pepper them in here and there for a bit of added interest for those who care. So onwards and upwards, I will crack on. This is the astrology. Oh dear, we've started again. This is the astrology for Friday, the 28th of August, 2026, of course. And that occurs at 4 degrees 54. So that's almost 5 degrees. And it's a full moon in Pisces, and that happens at UK time of 5 in the morning, 18 minutes past 5. So for those of you who are up and about at the crack of sparrows, maybe you might want to peek out of your bedroom curtains and have a look and see what you can see, or more rather what you can't see. And that all depends on the weather, of course, as you know. So a full moon at this full moon also, as you know, full moons are always opposed to the sun. And the sun at this time, or as of the 23rd of August, will be in Virgo. So the moon opposes the sun. 3 days before this eclipse, Mercury, planet of the mind, how we think, how we communicate, also moves into its own sign of Virgo and will, at this eclipse, be also at 5 degrees. So that's quite a powerful picture we have there in it, just that alone. Although this is a partial eclipse, all eclipses are powerful, very powerful. And this one in particular, even though it's a partial eclipse, is very powerful. These are all of the eclipses are beginnings and endings, but they carry on for a longer period of time. They affect us longer. So even at the time of recording this, I wrote this on the 17th of August, and so it will already have been starting to make its effects feel, because it's such a powerful thing. It's not just an instant at that moment we have this eclipse. It starts and then finishes over a much longer period of time. as with a lot of conjunctions, oppositions, and other meeting points of the planets, depending on what they are. Some of them have a longer effect on us, some is quite transitory and very short. So, a little bit of explanation for those. I'm sure most of you know all this anyway, but for those of you that don't, I like to have a little bit of explanation. So this is a very, very powerful eclipse, albeit just a partial one, which we should see here. Lots of countries should see here. Lots of countries should see this eclipse, especially us here. We should see 100%, I think it is, or late, very high 90%. So if you have your telescopes to the ready, or your toilet roll middles, you know, when we were children, but that's just a bit of fun. So, as I say, although this is partial, it is very, very powerful. And at and around this one, we could see much talk and analysis and criticism between those at the top with big egos and a lot to lose. If ego can be put aside, there is real potential at this time to begin anew in a creative and productive way. Compassion, service, and love, not ego, drama, and deceit. Those first three, compassion, service, and love, can be employed to bring about new options and solutions after much honest discussion. More can be gained by kindness than aggression. Virgo works in an analytical and logical way. Pisces feels and connects intuitively. So although they both approach situations from a different perspective, excuse me, they can blend and work together very well. With Mercury in touch with this Piscean moon, communication, conversation, and attention to detail in a cooler fashion is the way to end certain situations or situations that have become a stalemate. All full moons are endings to pave the way for a new beginning, globally and personally. We all really need this now. As I've been rabbiting on for ages about change, change, change. We may not like it, but we need it, and we have to have something that works. Something has to give. And I know we all know that, but it really has to give now. And it's up to us, all of us, and the way we think and what we do as to how this comes about. Venus is in Libra for almost 2 weeks before also entering Virgo. Libra is the diplomat, peacemaker. It's fair and just. It governs the law, and also Venus governs the law. In its own sign, it's happy and works well. But in order to keep the peace, in Libra, it can influence and encourage indecision and a sort of fence-sitting inertia, producing a standstill effect or form of standoff. Now, we know that really, without mentioning names, but across the pond, should we say, there has become a standoff situation which has been toing and froing for some long while. So we'll see how that all pans out, and hopefully it will pan out positively at last. as it moves into Virgo from the 10th of September, that's Venus, we could see plans beginning to materialize, and Mars takes action to firm up insecurity issues. Most insecurity issues begin in family life or within family life. So there are a lot of issues going on to do with this insecurity in people's homes, and hit our pockets. Where are we going? What are we doing? How are we going to manage? But also, again, across the world. So it is so important to keep positive. I know it's hard. And to keep the faith, keep saying, this is getting better. This is getting better. We will win. Things will improve. Into September sees the last of the outer planets turn in retrograde. That's Uranus in Gemini. This can see sort of eureka type conversations and breakthroughs that will still need much debate and openness to change and trust in radical ideas. Lots of things about Uranus are quite radical, and people coming up with ideas and having conversations about things that you would never have thought would happen or would be discussed or brought to the fore. So it gives us also, when a planet goes retrograde, time to go over things, time to revisit. But again, because it's one of the outer planets, this happens quite slowly. But there will be, because it's Uranus, sudden things going on, or sudden things being said, quite shocking things maybe, or unusual things which shock you. So we'll see how that pans out. Remember, planets don't compel us to do things. They are the opportunities for us to do things if we choose. And sometimes it's better to choose things than have them chosen for you. So what are your choices going forward? Maybe have a think about that. And then once September comes along and Uranus turns retrograde, you can give it more thought and maybe start working on something, perhaps behind the scenes, in order to bring that about. So mull things over thoroughly. Rome wasn't built in a day, and as all roads lead to Rome, where we get this stuff from, I don't know, probably when the Romans invaded us, but as you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, all roads lead to Rome, we just need to pick the best one. Pisces is a very compassionate and spiritual sign. It's sensitive and fluid. It's a water sign after all, There has been and will continue to be much compassion to those who are victims of fire due to lack of rainfall and loss of habitat with wildlife, and there will be and is much increasing concern in this area as more fires, reap havoc. You don't need to tell me that. So it is all over the world this is happening. The lack of water will continue to be of issue, and there is potential in the coming months for major disruption, even disputes or maybe war of some description over water rights and access to water. Ruling water, Pisces also influences floodwater, and with so much of the world in drought, scorched and bare, the land is, it's really sad, really sad. But with this scorched and bare land, our earth is not as absorbent as usual. So flooding is highly likely, leading to more loss of some description. I mean, certainly the fields, things can be washed away, loss in homes of items. I mean, I don't need to tell you, you can work it out. Also, Pisces does rule or is concerned with deception in some way, hidden things, things behind the scene, things under the surface. So there will be things coming to light, or deceptions coming to light and uncovered in areas of mind-altering substances, both medical and personal. So the big companies, I believe there's one company, is it in America, I think, that's being taken to task over certain things, but I'm not 100% sure about all the ins and outs of that. So, but there will be more like that. And personal things with ourselves to do with drugs and alcohol. Also in liquid-based industries, or liquids like your plumbing issues, etc. But liquid-based industries, for example, oil and water, which are liquid-based. And as I said before about the water, there could be some real, should we say, argy-bargies over water. Those in positions of power or leadership have had their day, and many familiar names and faces will leave one way or another in these next weeks and months. As I've said, it's not easy to keep calm at the moment. It really isn't. But this partial eclipse is awakening even more of our spiritual side. It's awakening more compassion in everybody, and kindness and intuitive abilities, and broadening our scope with these, and connection of a higher nature. All these things means that we can connect to and find our bliss, our place of calm in the storm of life. Why don't you, this is a bit of homework for those of you who want it, why don't you try something alternative, esoteric maybe? Go and hug a tree even. If you don't try, you'll never know. As I've said before, your mind, and I don't know where I got this from, but I thought it was such a wonderful, it really fills a picture in my mind. Your mind is like a parachute. It's no good unless it's open. So let's keep an open mind. Let's get out there and try something new and see where it takes us. As always, I trust you find this interesting. I haven't babbled on too much and you've lost your patience with me. And I truly, truly hope that this helps you all. Blessed be.